Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Get Me Out of Here. Today we will be talking about AI. I'm Catherine Fitzgerald.
I'm Piper Nicely.
I'm Skylar Gould.
I'm Dylan Andrews.
I'm Alex Ambro.
I'm Taylor Manley.
All right, so we all know what AI is, all right? So it's been around for a couple years now, or it's been growing the last couple years. How do we feel about it? Because, like, especially in, like, the podcast space, you know, it could be, like, a threat. It could be a tool. It's, you know, like, what are our experiences with that?
Well, with Spotify Wrapped being something that's very prominent in our generation and has been going on for years now, deciding to take a step into AI podcast realm, not only was it very uncomforting of a podcast to listen to, but it also made you realize that they aren't hiring real people for this specific program anymore, and this is all AI generated. And yeah, it's saving Spotify a lot of money, but it makes their users feel uncomfortable, and it's cutting out workforce jobs.
Also, can you explain the Spotify AI thing? I'm not super knowledgeable on it. What is Spotify doing with AI specifically?
So Spotify decided that it was going to use AI to make a podcast to go over your listenings from the past year. So Spotify every year takes everything you've listened to, the amount of hours, your best artists, your best genres that you listen to, and compiles them into a different form sheet of data. And this year, Spotify decided they wanted to have a little podcast you can listen to that talks about your music wrapped at the end of the year. And instead of using actual people to talk about your wrapped, they used AI, and it was really uncomforting. You could tell it was AI.
Yeah, can I add, with the AI, the voices, they like are really good at replicating like human emotions and like laughing and being like, let's talk about, like I'm referencing something like from my made-up world that you wouldn't know about, but it's like, they're really good at acting like humans.
Uncanny Valley.
Yes.
What it brings.
It was really interesting watching the podcast hosts. They just interacted. They would tell each other jokes and laugh, and they would talk to you directly. And just hearing them, one of them said, like, I bet Piper was dancing around the house to this one. And I was like, I don't like that. I don't.
Personally?
It personally kept referring to you by name, and it was a very disconcerting feeling.
It's like one of those things where it's like, it's so obviously AI, but it's so good at pretending human that it's just like, makes you really question, like, how many more years until you can't tell it's AI.
Yeah, that's the scary part, and like that's part of like what I feel about AI is we know it is AI, but the fact that it feels like it's getting too real, or like it's almost getting hard to discern, especially like photos and stuff. I don't know if you guys remember the photo of Donald Trump getting like tackled by police like 2 years ago.
I do remember that. Yep.
That was early stages of AI, but so many people started posting it and like reposting it and stuff like that, and it got huge, and everyone started believing it, and it was like a big problem. So
well, something recently happened with like Taylor Swift and AI and deepfakes. I mean, she had to take it to legal action.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, it was
like
it was a illicit photo of Taylor Swift that somebody had AI generated of her. Like, I think it was with a bunch of football players or something. After her and Travis Kelce started dating, and it was a big controversy because it was just wrong. But the fact that AI is able to do that, and deepfakes are now a thing too with AI I
see deepfakes all over my TikTok.
Those
videos, I see a lot of deepfake videos of like Trump and Biden being like in a relationship.
Yes,
it's like really funny and also really weird.
I've seen them, like I was going to mention on TikTok for like a 4-month span, all I was seeing was these deepfake like voiceovers of Donald Trump and Joe Biden playing Minecraft together.
I've seen
that
those.
was awesome. They had Obama in there too. They bring in like JoJo Siwa or something.
Of course they
would. It was great. So, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's almost getting to like a Boy Who Cried Wolf situation where like at a certain point, are we going to stop believing like real things said because we think they're AI because of how much AI stuff?
I already do.
It's like
I already feel like I do. Sometimes when I see newscasters, I'm like looking for signs of AI or like seeing if they're not fully human. Like,
well, like with the Minecraft thing, it's like, well, for right now it's funny. Like right now it's a funny thing to watch and it's hilarious, but like how long does it take for us to not realize that what this person said wasn't actually true at all?
Yeah, you have to wonder the ramifications of that are going to come down the line, because like even you were saying that picture of Trump being tackled by police, that's something that could cause like a political uproar. So it's starting with them playing Minecraft, but where is it going to go from here? Of like the idea of like the information we're receiving, we can't tell if it's real or not.
Well, I watched this video recently about AI and like the stages, quote unquote stages of AI, and we're currently in stage 4 of AI, and it's like can process various mental states, have a deep sense of like faith and knowledge, and there's the steps following will show us how insane AI can be when it gets to stage 5, and there's artificial generalized intelligence, and then stage 6 with artificial super intelligence, and that's all supposed to be coming into our world like by 2029. If you've like read anything by Sam Altman or Elon Musk, they're both in the works for these things, and they're also scared of it at the same time.
Well, then you mentioning that you're scared, like not just us, but like
the
people
creators
who are creating it are scared of it, makes you sit back and is like, why did we even make it in the first place? Like, why did we, like, what do you guys think was the original benefit of creating AI?
Honestly, I feel like there's probably more advanced AI than we're aware of. Probably, if I had to guess, it's probably like an international thing. I bet it's like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, maybe America's scared of it, but America would be much more scared if one of our like enemies overseas had it, you know, or
that's a good point.
Whoever that is, I don't really pay attention.
We
to
just
want to
be the first.
I was gonna say you'd rather. I mean, like you don't want to have to do it, but you'd rather you do it and be in control of the most advanced version of it than someone else.
And also money.
Money's cool.
The money behind it
That
is
is true.
insane.
Have you guys had any good experiences with AI or?
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe.
I feel like AI has benefited a lot of us, especially like being students and also just being creative students as well. It helps with like helping produce ideas and whatnot, but sometimes there are cases where then there's scanners or people like teachers are like, well, I don't want this online, I want this in paper because I do not trust you guys to not use AI.
My least favorite thing ever is when I go and I be the first to admit, I use Grammarly because I have horrible spelling. And I'm not using the Grammarly like AI functions, I'm using spell check. And I've submitted a paper that I've written entirely myself and just used spell check for, and it's gotten like a 10% flag for not original content. And I've sat there and I've been like, excuse me? I spent like 5 days on this paper. This is original content. And it's also hard now because AI generates itself based on things that are already on the internet, and then it snowballs itself. So it's like, if you are using sources, AI is using those sources too. So who's to say that you didn't or did use AI?
Exactly. No, I've found, especially with, I'm in a biology class. I don't know anything about biology, and the things that we have to read, the like case studies, so hard for me to understand what they are. Because they're so scientific. So I'll literally copy and paste it into ChatGPT and be like, help me, like, dumb this down for me, summarize this, help me out with some way so that I can, like, complete my homework and not, like, spend 8 hours on this.
Exactly. I was about to say, I, like, use, especially with all these classes I've had in the last couple of years, I've had, like, 20 different types of readings that are, like, 50 pages long. For me, I'm not doing all that reading every time. So I chunk it up and put in ChatGPT and like summarize it, give me the key points, and I try to get all the crucial information out of it, and ChatGPT does it like really well for me, as well as like doing writings and like essays and stuff like that. Like Taylor was saying, I do the same thing. I will like do all the work myself, but obviously it's not perfect, and how I see it is when I put use ChatGPT like fix it, I'm just doing the House Writing Center, but in my laptop right in front of me.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. It's like I'm not cheating.
That's
I'm
true.
not taking information out of it. I'm just having it fix the information I have in the writing I have to make it look better.
Right. Like when you're like, rewrite this to make my point come across and have it flow like better.
I mean, technically that's like, it's like Grammarly, you know. People will pay for Grammarly, and isn't that technically not yours anymore?
Yeah.
But it's like no one cares because it's like, the ideas, the source ideas are yours.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're having it like change your idea or change. It's you're having it like, I have a run-on sentence here, and Grammarly or ChatGPT is going to take this run-on sentence and make it actually make sense for me, because
Exactly.
it's my idea, but it's just not formatted exactly how I would like it to be formatted.
So one last cool thing that I think AI is good for, I guess it's one specific app or one specific company, but it's like music related. So I with the film stuff that I'm involved in, I wanted to like mess around with making like theme music, but I don't know how to like produce music. I just know how to like come up with music. So I want to show you this, the progression. So I went into GarageBand, which is not that great, and I spat out this 10-second chord progression. Here, listen to that. So listen to this. This is all it is. All right, it's really.
I can't hear it if you keep talking.
Okay, anyways, you get the point. So, it's all right. Now, I might even overlay it on top of the editing, so that'll work too. But then look at that. So I spat that out, plugged it through the thing 50 different times, and I got listen to this. Wait. Listen to this. Come on. That's pretty cool. And I was
Game
like,
of Thrones, who?
That's
Yeah.
really
And
that's
then-
like Game of Thrones meets
I'm
The
going
Last
off
of
of
Us.
that.
and it's like that's kind of the same thing with the Grammarly stuff, where it's like it's my source material. It just made it better.
But my question is it your source material?
Kind
Because
of.
it's AI. Well, it's you plugged in your source material, but then it took, because AI is just
It made
things that
it
it
all.
already found, and then it just takes things and it
Yes.
repurposes them. So it's is it, your source material's in there, but is it other people's creations that have been stacked
And
on top?
I wonder too if in the future, coming years, we'll see more replication in music and hear.
There's already
there already
tons.
is. There already is people singers who sample other songs from 30, 40 years ago. But I'm thinking if it'll be a jumble of just songs that kind of sound the same, start to sound the same.
I'm also curious about how legal action is going to end up being
Yeah.
pursued. I wonder if in the next 5 to 10 years there's going to be more legal action taken against AI generated content.
Yeah.
Because there's a limited amount of content that is considered fair use.
Yeah.
And so we don't know what it's sampling. We don't know if it's copyright. We don't know how it's protected or if it's fair use. So this really just opens you up to some really ambiguous works.
In my head, there's no way that all of what AI is using is copyright free. There's no way.
I do think this leads perfectly into what one of the articles I found. It's about Robert Downey Jr. suing future executives that uses his name, image, and likeness in AI for movies in the future. I think overall a lot of the industry is learning how AI is being used, learning how to use it themselves for their own benefit, but also learning how to fight it in the future if people try to use it on them or from them, from their own material. So
this whole thing's just a learning curve.
yeah, I think right now it's just people are learning it and they're trying to fight it for what it is right now. Obviously it can get better or worse, but I think that's a good segue into that. So.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been a lot of cases of seeing the film industry using people's likeness or using people's voice. If you watched The Mandalorian, instead of hiring an actor to play young Luke Skywalker, they deep-faked a young Luke Skywalker onto an actor.
Right.
So we've just been seeing a lot of that, and it's very weird. I think a lot like the AI podcast host we were talking about. It's him, but not quite.
It's
Right.
yeah, and it's tough when you're using other live action actors, and then you have this sort of PlayStation looking guy, and people got mad because when things were released, I remember seeing an article when it pictures of that actor who was behind the AI mask, the guy looked similar to a young Luke, to where people were like, why didn't you just run with it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just unnecessary at times.
Well, speaking of a Star Wars franchise, I mean, you think about AI and deepfakes, and you go into voiceover work, and how voiceover work is going to become non-existent, and how certain people have actually allowed their voiceover work to be used in movies after their passing, like Darth Vader's actor had allowed that in the Star Wars franchise. But there's a lot of people with name, image, and likeness when it comes to voiceovers that are going to be in trouble and might end up having to do some lawsuits because people are going to want to use those voices.
And also, on top of that, already in Europe, there's jobs that have been lost with like dubbing and subbing, because AI can just do it for them. So that's like another add-on to it, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think we can definitely see AI just starting to remove jobs, because even like that person who played Luke Skywalker, he never got his likeness shown.
Mm-hmm.
So he honestly didn't get to take credit for that work despite being casted as the role. It wasn't him.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just seeing all of these creative jobs are just starting to vanish into AI generated technology and content.
I mean, people would rather take a chance on a already well-known actor and just deep faking them rather than taking a chance on somebody who's never been on screen before, who could become a very well-known, awesome actor. But it's all money. It's all a monopoly.
It's weird. I mean, well, it's funny because like when you mentioned the Robert Downey Jr. thing, like if you could just use like an AI version of him, like how did Robert Downey Jr. as an actor become like Robert Downey Jr.? It's because he was good at acting, not because he looks like what he looks like.
Yes.
Right.
People know what he looks like because he was a good actor. So it's like at a certain point, what is
what's going to come of acting? Like,
right? If it's just
gonna-
about if you look like somebody that people know, how do you become somebody that people know if you're only being deepfaked as somebody that people already know?
There's no more start to careers anymore. It's you hop in or you take somebody else's career that they've already established,
Right.
and it's all because of AI. So
And also they're adding on to that, they're making like the aging features with AI.
Right.
You can be the oldest person ever and still look young.
Yeah.
like
Yeah, they did that to Harrison Ford in the new Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
Instead of hiring a younger actor to play a younger Indiana Jones.
just let him
And-
just let him rest.
Let Harrison rest.
I get it. Sometimes movies like Indiana Jones, you have a franchise that people
But that's like a cult classic.
Yeah,
so it's like you
people-
have to.
people love it
Yeah.
and they adore it, and so like they want to see the same actors in it. But yeah, there's a point like Harrison Ford, you should let him rest.
They could have done like a Harrison Ford's son vibes, but
Yeah, but at that point you run into issues with sequels not doing as well, and that's a whole other topic for next time.
Yeah, well, we'll take a small break here, and we'll come back with a few more tidbits after this short break.